Good day, everyone. I am Christine, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, Employee Off-Duty Conducts Know Your Rights and Theirs. I would like to introduce our presenter for today, Wendy Sellers. Wendy Sellers is the HR lady, a teacher of reality and practicality, an author, speaker, and HR consultant. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Wendy.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's Wendy Sellers, the HR lady. We're here today to talk about not a fun topic, that's for sure, but something that we have to deal with all the time if you are wearing even a little bit of the HR hat. And so this is also very, very important for managers and anyone in operations. We're going to be talking about, off-duty conduct. We're going to talk about the law, and this gets a little crazy because we have so many states and territories. It's not just about federal law. I'm going to give you some resources too that you can go find more information on your own. But we're going to talk about the employer's rights, the employee's rights, again, real life situations here, and understanding, these legal boundaries. That it also means that an employer can change the terms of an employment relationship with no notice and no consequences. Now, when does off-duty conduct become an employer concern? Your company reputation has been damaged or potentially might get damaged. There is something called the nexus. And so if you've never heard of the nexus test, this is one of those things that you want to understand when you are trying to discipline an employee for off-duty conduct. Nexus is super, super important. Please write that down. So some of the types of off-duty behavior that I see a lot going around, we really have to take the time to educate our employees on all of our policies. So let's jump in a little bit more and talk about, this case law regarding off-duty conduct and what the heck does this mean? So I want to give you a few case law examples as well. There's protected conduct and then there's unprotected conduct. Okay, so moving on here a little bit more, again, as I talked about with unprotected conduct, just some key considerations before taking action here is ensure that you are consistent and enforced. Additionally, we want to make sure that, we're updating our policies as needed, and then analyzing the risk of discrimination or retaliation claims. Okay, so let's move on a little bit more, and I just want to talk a little bit more specifically about social media. Public image concerns, again, this is where, of course, your marketing department, your C-suite, you also keep that in mind. Protecting the organization's reputation, it's huge. The legal, the ethical, reputation implications of the decision is huge. But employers really need a well-defined crisis management plan, informing employees about the situation ahead of time. So now let's talk about, the clear policies, training and prevention strategies, establish super crystal clear channels. Now, let's talk about some proactive do's and don'ts for employers. So, and then finally, don't discriminate against your employees. Pull out your management job descriptions, and you should be making sure one of their essential duties is to understand discrimination laws. Transparency and fairness are so important. They're crucial for handling off-duty conduct. The National Labor Relations Act actually, it protects employees' rights to engage in union activities, including forming unions, joining unions, and participating in collective bargaining. And then, of course, every state has their own set of laws, which makes it even more confusing. It's more focused on consumer privacy laws. These three categories are the three most common categories of states where states have very specific laws for employees. Make sure that you outline clear expectations for employee behavior, making sure they 100% know what are the consequences for the violations, and making sure that your employees and your candidates are even aware of them. Legal implications, are super important when you are disciplining employees for off-duty conduct. Retaliation is something that many people claim. The bottom line here is You do have to kind of put on your legal hat here a little bit, understand that the legal landscape is always changing. Stay informed of the laws. So implement training to all the employees. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and, watch your P's and Q's and make sure that you're consulting with employment attorneys in your industry and down to your state. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Wendy. That concludes the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now and have a great day.